Good. So welcome. So I'll slowly start. Welcome everyone, and thank you for your interest in our master, and thank you for joining the session. I hope the first part was quite useful and a good overview of what we do in computer science department. My name is Silvia Bartolucci, and I'm the finance programs coordinator. So I oversee all the programs that are run by the Financial Computing Analytics Group and the Center for Blockchain Technology. So here today you will hear from this breakout session about the Computational Finance program, the Financial Risk Management program, and the newer programs on financial technology and emerging digital technologies. So We'll start with some presentations from the program directors, just to give you a brief summary of the program content goals, and how they are run. Then we'll have another bit on the summer projects led by Dr. Phelan, who you just saw in the main session. And then we have three alumni that kindly joined us to share their experience from last year. This year, the program, the four programs are, so we have about 130 students that are undertaking our masters this year, more or less split evenly among the four programs. The computational finance and financial risk managers cohort are slightly larger, but overall we have about 30 to 40 students per master program this year, and more or less it will stay the same in the coming years. And of course, the cohort is very diverse and international. So we have students from the UK, Europe in general, and the globe. So it's and coming from very different backgrounds as well. So without further ado, I sort of hand over to the program director, and then at the end we'll have some time also for your questions. Feel free to start writing it and popping in the chat so we keep track of them. So the first program that we'll present is the Financial Risk Management program, and we have here Professor Fabio Caccioli, who will introduce the program.
Thank you, Silvia. So this program, yeah, you can go to the first slide. Thanks. So this is the oldest program of our 4 MSc programs. So it has been running for 10 years already. And the program was set up to meet the growing demand for professionals that are skilled in quantitative risk management that has been coming from the industry, especially prompted by the global financial crisis of 2008. And what we aim is to provide to the industry graduates that have deep knowledge both of how the financial system works, but also that have a good technical understanding in terms of mathematics and in terms of computational techniques, because these skills are required nowadays to build quantitative models to operate in financial markets. So in addition to the theoretical frameworks that you might be exposed to also if you enroll in programs in financial mathematics, we put a lot of emphasis on data. And so in particular, obviously, everything is targeted towards financial data. And so our graduates through the program learn how to handle data, how to extract information from them, and then how to use them to build models, to validate models, test them, and deploy them in the practice in relation to risk management. And since our program, as I mentioned, has both the goal of producing professionals that have a deep knowledge of how the system, the financial system works, but also the technical knowledge about the mathematical and computational techniques, we have a variety of backgrounds in terms of the type of students that we welcome in our program. All students must have some quantitative background, so classes such as calculus or linear algebra, econometrics, or some probability and statistics are required. But our students come from a variety of backgrounds, from mathematics, physics, engineering, computer science, and of course also from finance, economics, or subjects related to these. So we are really open to a variety of backgrounds for what concerns your undergraduate degree. We can, Silvia, move to the next slide just to give a brief overview of the module, of the program. The program is made out of 8 modules. 4 of them are compulsory, so you have to attend them, and these are kind of the foundational modules that pave the way for the optional modules that you can select. So here are the 4 core modules: market risk and portfolio theory, probability theory and stochastic processes, financial engineering, and data-driven modeling of financial markets. To these 4 core modules, then you would add 4 optional modules. Silvia, we can move to the next one. And these 4 optional modules can be selected from a quite wide menu of options, and these will cover many different aspects. So you can kind of tailor your program a little bit with respect to your needs or your what you like. These different optional modules cover both aspects of risk, such as systemic risk or operational risk, that are not covered by the core modules, but also things related to technology, such as blockchain technologies or machine learning or algorithmic trading. So this is a program that has been evolving over time, also to include new skills that over time have become more and more required from the industry. In addition to the 8 modules, then there is a summer project. Carolyn has already described in the main session how this works, and I think she will mention it also in a few minutes. So I will not discuss a lot about this, but just to say that the summer project and the dissertation is a substantial part of the program, because it is awarding 1/3 of the credits that are obtained through the program. So it is a very important aspect of the master, and this is typically done in collaboration with an industrial partner on a project that is of practical relevance and that is proposed by the industrial partner, although there is a possibility also for those interested to take a research-intensive project, which is more academic oriented. In terms of career outcomes, well, obviously the natural career path is a career in finance, and so our graduates end up in working for the financial sector and in a variety of different types of employers that include investment banks, hedge funds, insurance companies. Some of them also work for the public sector, for instance, central banks or financial conduct authorities. And an option is also employment with fintech companies. And so, like, again, a wide variety of players that belong to the financial ecosystem are attracted by our graduates, I would say. And I think I can stop here for now and over to the next program director.
Thank you, Fabio. So next we have Professor Guido Germano for Computational Finance.
Hello, everybody. So the MSc Computational Finance has been running under this name from 2015. However, there was a a previous program, which is the oldest offered by our group, which was called MSc Financial Computing. So in a sense, it's an even older program than the MSc FRM, except that it changed its name and slightly its scope in 2015. And I will come back to this later when I talk about the admission requirements. The main feature of the program is that it provides a blend of skills in mathematics, finance, statistics, and computer science, where statistics and computer science include machine learning, producing quantitative analysts or quants in just 1 year, as opposed to similar postgraduate programs in the United States or continental Europe, which last 2 years. Similarly to the MSc FRM, graduates are taught how the financial system works and are given the technical skills required to understand, develop, and implement quantitative models. So, of course, here there is a distinction between understanding and possibly development, which may require only mathematics and statistics, and the implementation ability, which includes also programming and interfacing yourself with data. And so also this MSc is data driven or data based. It's not just a theoretical MSc where only models are taught. For the admissions, we require previous studies in a quantitative subject, which is pretty broadly understood. So there must be some evidence of exams in mathematics in your transcripts. We usually require at least calculus and linear algebra, which is very little. I mean, it's taught in the first year or in the first 2 years of a wide variety of BScs. In some cases, people don't have this denomination like calculus and linear algebra, but mathematics 1, and then they have other useful exams like differential equations, probability statistics, or econometrics, which we would acknowledge. And the main 2 groups of our students are from STEM subjects, so mathematics, statistics, physics, engineering, computer science on one side, and economics, finance, accounting, business, management on the other side. Computer science is a sort of special situation here. So the old MSc Financial Computing was a so-called generalist degree, where MSc students from computer science were not admitted. So the idea was to take students, let's say, from mathematics and teach them some finance and some programming. Whereas now we take, obviously, also students from computer science. I mean, this is a development which was important, but some students who apply from computer science have 0 exams in mathematics in their curriculum. We would need to have at the very least 1. This is a feature of BSc Computer Science in the UK and more generally in Europe, which over a couple of decades have eliminated mathematics because it was superfluous for the outcomes. And now slowly it's being reintroduced thanks to machine learning, because you cannot understand machine learning and do data science without any mathematics. So if you belong to the category of applicants from computer science with a degree with 82% from Russell Group University and you are not admitted, we are very sorry to reject some of these highly qualified applicants. The reason may be that in your, or probably is that in your transcript, there isn't a single exam in mathematics. So next page, the core modules are different from those of the MSc. Oops, MSc FRM with a small overlap with respect to financial engineering, which is taught to both. Then in term 1, we also have numerical methods for finance, which is optional for FRM. In term 2, we have data science, which sort of corresponds to data-driven modeling of financial markets, but is taught by a different professor with slightly different syllabus. And then we have machine learning with applications in finance, which is optional for FRM, but mandatory for CF. Then we have a list of, I wanted to eliminate the yellow highlighting of Comp 0162, but this changes the page. We have as many as 12 optionals, which are all taught in the I have an alumna here as well, and they are all taught in our department, and except for numerical optimization, they are even taught within our group. We are importing only one from mathematics, which is market risk and portfolio theory. And starting from 2024, we will teach this in-house. It will change slightly its name to market and credit risk. And it's, I usually say to our students, it's like candy shop. I would be very in a big difficulty myself to make a choice. I could easily narrow this down maybe to 8, but then narrowing it down further to 4 is truly hard. Beyond this, you could try to request on special permission to attend other modules taught in computer science, or maybe in statistics, physics, or mathematics, but the experience shows that it's often difficult to match them to your timetable, or to get into the capacity limits of that module. So this is a theoretical possibility, which, however, you shouldn't rely on. It may work or it may not. However, given the large amount of choice here of optionals, I mean, I think that everybody's taste should be fulfilled. And then we have a summer project, which is another module. So it's its own module code, Comp 0077, with the particularity that it counts as much as 4 of these exams. So it has an incredibly high weight of about 1/3 of your final mark. It runs from mid-June to mid-September. And exactly like for FRM, both placement schemes are managed by Carolyn, so by the same person who is our summer projects coordinator. You can do that with an industrial partner, which means a company, which typically is based in London, but it could also be somewhere else, on a project of practical relevance, which is proposed by the company. The alternative is to do an academic research-intensive project supervised only by one of the teaching staff, which has the advantage that typically you do something scientifically deeper, and where you have a possibility to choose or contract, bargain, agree the topic, whereas with the company, you are in a hierarchical system where you are given a task from above and you have to do it. And I think this is it. We have the last slide with the career outcomes. There is a breadth of employment options in the financial sector, mostly as a quantitative analyst or a similar role. You can end up in a large bank, typically an investment bank, in a large or small hedge fund. There is a large spectrum in the size of hedge funds. Insurance companies, fintechs, which typically are smaller and often startups, as well as central banks, financial regulators, financial authorities, or you could stay on at university and do a PhD, like one of our alumni is going to show you. Some known employers, I mean, it's a long list, is like Commerzbank, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Bloomberg, and a long list, which I didn't put here, of less well-known and often smaller hedge funds and fintech companies. It would fill half a page, and probably you haven't heard the names. So
Guido.
what I would, yes, expect as my last sentence is that the employment market as well as the placement market for a summer project has been changing over the years, and the big names provide a smaller percentage of outcome paths with respect to younger and smaller companies in the fintech sector. Thank you very much, and Silvia, I'll unshare screen.
Thank you, Guido. And of course, we'll discuss things about placement and so in the Q&A. So we'll try to give enough time to everyone to cover the programs. So next is the set of technology-related programs. So the first program is financial technology with Nikhil, who's going to discuss the aim of the programs.
Thanks, Silvia. So just talk about the financial technology master's program. So this one is slightly different from the other two, computational finance, financial risk management, in the sense that we will teach some finance, but we will also teach some business and strategy, innovation knowledge, and you will get more core kind of technology focus as well. So it's trying to come to the financial services world, but from not only a finance perspective, computer science perspective, but also a business and technology innovation. We'll go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Who should study this particular program? So again, there is a lot of mathematics in some of the modules. So again, I would encourage you to come from a STEM background. If you also have work experience that's relevant in industry, in the financial services industry or the technology industry, again, that's relevant as well. And some of the graduates who have taken the program have also come from those particular backgrounds as well. We do sometimes take students who come from quite different backgrounds, but again, you need to have some demonstration that you'll be able to cope with the level of mathematics and programming that will be there. Otherwise, unfortunately, you just will struggle with the program. So that's how it is. Next slide, please. So in terms of what you'll be doing, kind of the structure at the moment is you have 3 core modules in term 1, and you have 1 core module in term 2, and then optionals around that. But kind of to start off with, you learn machine learning, you learn blockchain technologies, you learn finance and programming, and then you have optionals in the first term around learning more about technology, say with learning about databases, or going more on a financial services or finance knowledge with, say, for example, financial engineering. And then in the second term, your core is studying innovation and strategy in financial services, where you'll look at, the elements of new startup companies coming in, disruptive business models and so forth, but then also have optionals which are related to things like policy and regulation in financial services, product management and software engineering. That one should be in term 1, sorry. Quantitative finance, algorithmic trading, all these other kind of optionals where you can try and focus a little bit more perhaps on technology, or a little bit more on business and strategy, or a little bit more on quantitative finance. And then of course you have your summer project that comes after that. Next slide, please. And finally, in terms of career outcomes, so this, if you apply for this program, you'll be joining it in its 3rd year. So in the previous, we only really have data from the first year of it running in terms of where students went, but they went to a variety of traditional financial services firms. They also went to fintech companies, and indeed they went for into technology company. So again, quite a broad array of places that you can merge into with the skills you get, because you will have a kind of a diverse toolbox of skills relevant to the financial services world, particularly relevant to disruption that is occurring within the industry itself. That's it.
Thank you, Nikhil. So as next program, we can just jump in onto the emerging digital technology goals.
Thanks, Sylvia. I'll be fast because I'm conscious of time as well. So it's good that Nikhil has given a very great overview on the fintech program. As a matter of fact, we call the Emerging Digital Technologies program a kind of sister program of the fintech program, because due to the background, they were both co-created by the Financial Computing Group and the Center for Blockchain Technologies. So the difference between financial technology and emerging digital technologies is that, well, as a student, if you want to have a little bit more finance focus, you will probably find financial technology a bit more suitable. Whereas if you are more into different types of technologies, as the name of the program implies, and if you want to apply these technologies in a kind of managerial or entrepreneurial background context, you will probably find emerging digital technologies a bit more suitable. So yeah, we can skip this one. So I think the structure of the program is the same as all other programs. You will have 8 modules, 4 compulsory and 4 optional. I think we can directly have a look at those modules. So you can see we have mainly modules in different technologies, blockchain technologies, database fundamentals, digital technologies, data science, and then you would also have a summer project. We'll probably still have time to talk about this later. And then also an array of optional modules. I will not name them one by one, but you can find them on our program diet page as well. So the goal is really to shape this, to arm the students with the not only the technological know-how, but also again the skills to be able to apply those technologies in different business contexts. And that's all. I think we still have a bit of time. We should definitely let our alumni speak about their experience. Yeah.
Yes. So if Carolyn doesn't mind, we'll give some time to the student alumni to discuss their experience within the different masters. So I would start with Sofia.
Hi everyone. I'm Sofia Smorgoni, 2018 class of the FRM Masters. So I joined UCL coming from a bachelor's in statistics for finance from the University of Padova in Italy. So background in stats, a bit of finance, a bit of a mix. Attended the master, indeed graduated in 2018 and joined Deloitte, so one of the big 4 consulting firms, effectively straight after the masters, in the risk and capital management team within the financial services risk advisory practice. Sorry, it's a very long name, but effectively doing exactly what I studied at UCL. I spent about 3 years in Deloitte in that team, working on a number of projects, very much related to the focus of the masters. And then in the last year and a half, I moved from Deloitte to a smaller boutique consulting firm, where I do a bit less of the modeling side, but more of the consulting things around digital transformation, still using a lot of my analytical skills from the masters, but in a slightly different context than what I was doing in Deloitte. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me in terms of introduction.
Thank you, Sofia. And of course, if the audience have some specific questions for you, maybe you can just pop in the chat. You're welcome to. So next you can, Jinsong, maybe you can share your experience as well.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. So basically, I am the master student of computational finance from 2020 to 2021. And currently I'm still working in a group, and I'm a PhD student supervised by Professor Guido Germano. So basically my background is I graduated from Warwick Mathematics Institute. So a lot of mathematics backgrounds behind it. And as for the program I joined, I think it's quite rewarding program, and a lot of my friends are still benefiting from it. I am still doing my research, so not heavily career-based, but a few of my friends joined the CICC, which is the biggest investment banking in China. They find the program quite rewarding, and the current PhD program is heavily rely on what I've learned during my master degree. So I think if you have anything related to the academic degree background, please ask me about it. And I did my placement for academic, so not joining the banks and the careers. And I think it's quite rewarding program. It's half of way of what I'm doing right now. So basically that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jinsong. So next we have Yimika.
Hi everyone. I'm UCL alumni of Emerging Digital Technologies. We just concluded last September, and the program was quite rewarding. Prior to the program, I had an interest in like blockchain technology, and had to learn a lot about like other types of technology. So during the course of the program, we were privileged to gain skills in PHP, Python, other programming languages, as well as knowledge of different technologies. I did my program in something blockchain specific, multi-chain wallets interoperability, and I was privileged to do my placement with Stellar Lumen, which is a layer 1 blockchain company. Currently, I do technical writing for Bank of Chain, which is a multi-chain yield optimizer, so more like decentralized finance. And final thoughts would be, yeah, it's a really great course to do. It's not as specific as financial technology, but it's very good general knowledge, and you still get to do a bunch of modules, play around with modules as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Yimika.
Silvia, I have another alumna here who will say a few sentences. So this is Maria Grazia Milazzotto, who didn't do the whole MSc with us. She joined as an exchange student from Politecnico di Milano only for the academic project. And you could say something about your background and a couple of sentences on the content of your academic project.
Hi, everyone. I'm writing a master thesis supervised by Professor Guido Germano, and the topic is the stochastic volatility model with some extension, and I found this topic extremely interesting, and it's an academic thesis, and I really find very interesting the connection between the theoretical mathematics and the world of finance through this topic. So I think the academic theses are very interesting.
Yes, and the project, I mean, they are not alone, so it's part of a larger project where Jinsong is doing the Monte Carlo simulation. She's providing the analytic gradients, and another student is doing calibration on actual data from commodities. The student is part-time working with Morgan Stanley. So even if these are academic projects supervised only within the university, there are still links with the industry provided by the academic supervisor, and people who have worked on similar topics in the past were then hired by banks where they are basically continuing to do something similar, because it's of course denominated an academic project, but it has practical applications in the financial sector as its motivation.
Thank you, Guido, and thank you, Maria Grazia. It's been really interesting to hear also from the very different outcomes, like working in industry or doing a more sort of research project. So I don't know if Carolyn wants to jump in on specifics, things that we skipped for the summer project, and or if our guests here have specific questions on what the program director just spoke about, or the students, you feel free to just raise your hand, speak, write in the question box. It's a good opportunity to clear out any doubts you might have at this stage, either on the application, on what are the requirements for the different programs, and what are the expectations in terms of how the masters will run.
Okay, so if I'll just say a few words. Obviously, I talked a bit in the main session about the projects, so I'm not going to sort of rehash over that again. I'll just sort of talk a little bit about what the program specific side is. So, traditionally on the finance masters, we have the majority of students going into industry linked projects. Most of those are going through IXN. A few of those are going through sort of students' own internships that they've arranged. So if you are interested in, getting on one of the sort of, internship schemes that run at, some of the investment banks, then, we've historically very successfully been able to sort of integrate the requirements for your programs with the requirements for the internship as well. So that's certainly something that if you would like to go down that route, that's certainly something that would very much be open to you. So I would say the best thing to do is to keep an open mind about the sort of projects that we have available. One thing that's quite interesting is seeing how the sort of projects that we get offered actually sort of sometimes even precede the way that the market and the job market is going. So, maybe a few years ago, most people were thinking of finance in terms of, traditional quantitative methods. And we started getting requests for things like data science, some of the decentralized finance stuff as well. And then, lo and behold, that is actually where the hiring market ends up going. So, it's certainly something to sort of, the network that we have does generally reflect the job market, even if it doesn't necessarily meet what your preconceptions about what finance would be. So we sort of think that what companies ask for is very relevant. I would say the most important thing is that you look at, we support you in this, the contents of the project. I think there was a question in the main session where somebody asked, if I want to work with a particular company, can I do that? And our sort of general reply to that is the most important part is the subject of the project, not actually that you're working for a particular bank or a particular fintech, because the roles within those companies vary wildly, and you will have different skills and different interests. So that's really the sort of the background. We have also had some and all the program directors did touch on it. We have had some really successful outcomes with what we call research intensive projects. So we are starting to push forward the opportunity that students can work with one of our academics for their project. And then actually we have had a few publications, coming out of that. And given the sort of hiring pressure that companies are under, given how desperate they are to hire people, actually an academic project, an academic paper rather on your CV can make you incredibly hireable. So, it's not just the IXN projects that count towards your employability. These research intensive projects can also have an extremely beneficial result as well. So I think other than that, I'd probably just take questions. If anyone has any questions for specific things about the projects.
Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, so let's give it 2 more minutes for any questions, and then I think we can wrap up the session. No, just a question. Will the slides be shared with the participants at some point? Because there are like links and other information, but
the slides for the main session or the slides for our breakout session, Silvia?
For the breakout or in general?
Yeah, I think it can be shared with the participants. Yeah.
Yes, so I'll put up again the last slides, possibly with kind of useful links and information about the admissions team, should you need that. So is there any question from our audience here? You can type it in the chat or just raise your hand or speak, or otherwise in 1 minute or so we'll wrap up the session. And of course, you're welcome to contact anyone from the team should you have any further query on the application process or master. Thank you for popping in the information to contact the administrators as well. That can help you with queries concerning the admission application process. If there are no sort of question or doubts, and hopefully everything has been cleared out during this couple of hour session from the different speakers that we had, I would proceed with sort of thanking again all the guests, all our alumni, for sharing their experiences, the program directors, and those who joined today to hear more from our masters. And hopefully we'll see you during next academic year in one of our cohorts.